The small silver cross caught the cold courtroom light as Elon Musk shifted in his seat, sending a quick flash across the room, a spark of quiet defiance in courtroom 342. Judge Ellena Simmons's sharp eyes followed the glint like a hawk. Her gaze hardened as she spotted the source, a simple cross pendant hanging from the neck of the world's most talked-about entrepreneur. What no one knew was that this tiny flash of light was no accident. Musk had planned it, the opening move in a legal chess game he'd already mapped to its end. "Mr. Musk," the judge's voice sliced through the courtroom. "What is that around your neck?" The room froze. The ongoing antitrust hearing, already packed with tension over Musk's latest social media acquisition, suddenly pivoted around that small silver cross. Musk's hand instinctively went to the pendant. "This, Your Honor," he said calmly. "It's a cross and a gift from my mother." The judge leaned forward, her reading glasses low on her nose. 62 stern and feared for her precision, she didn't waste words. "I've made myself clear, Mr. Musk. No religious or political symbols in my courtroom. Remove it now." A murmur rippled through the audience. Journalists scribbled notes. A courtroom sketch artist's pencil raced. Musk's attorney, James Donovan, touched his client's arm, a silent warning. But Musk had already straightened up, eyes steady. "With respect, Your Honor," he said evenly. "I didn't know wearing personal jewelry broke court rules. This cross means a lot to me. It was my mother's last gift. Before she passed, it wasn't true. His mother was alive." But the emotional weight of his words left the judge little room to push back without appearing cold. "Mr. Musk," she said icily, "your wealth and fame don't exempt you from my rules. Remove it or face contempt." The air tightened like a drawn bowstring. Musk paused, thoughtful, then replied softly, "I mean no disrespect, Your Honor, but I can't remove it. It's a matter of belief." Silence. "Then, very well," Judge Simmons said, her tone like steel. "Mr. Musk, I find you in contempt of court. You are fined $100,000, payable immediately." A collective gasp swept through the courtroom. Even for a billionaire, the message was clear. Defiance comes with a price. Donovan jumped to his feet. "Your Honor, this is excessive, unconstitutional." His religious expression, "Objection noted," the judge cut in. "The fine stands. We'll reconvene in 30 minutes. The gavel struck like a gunshot. As the judge exited, chaos erupted. Reporters rushing out, analysts whispering, phones lighting up. At the defense table, Donovan leaned close. "Elon, this is insane. $100,000 for a necklace? We need to handle this carefully." Musk didn't answer. He was already on his phone, typing fast. "What are you doing?" Donovan asked. "Being strategic," Musk replied. Donovan glanced at the screen. The draft read, "Just fined $100K for wearing a small cross in court. Religious freedom isn't negotiable. We'll fight this all the way to the Supreme Court." "Elon, wait, too late." Musk hit post. Within seconds, his phone exploded with notifications, retweets, comments, support pouring in from around the world. Religious freedom and Musk cross were already trending. Musk leaned back in his chair, a faint smile crossing his face. "Now," he said quietly, "we wait." Elon smirked, showing him his phone. Comments and shares were exploding across social media. "Look at this," he said. 3 top constitutional lawyers just offered to represent me for free." Donovan frowned. "You're playing a dangerous game, Elon. Judge Simmons doesn't take well to public pressure. You could make her dig in deeper." Musk pocketed his phone and leaned back, fingers brushing the silver cross around his neck. "Maybe," he said, "but she's smart enough to know when she's made a mistake. And this," he gestured toward the nearly empty courtroom, "was a mistake." A nervous court clerk approached. "Mr. Musk," she said softly, "the court's financial office is ready to process your fine." Elon smiled politely. "Thank you, but I won't be paying any fine today. My attorney will file an immediate appeal." The clerk blinked, startled. I'll inform the judge," she stammered and hurried away. Donovan shot him a look somewhere between frustration and reluctant admiration. "You know she can raise the fine? Or have you detained?" "She won't," Elon replied calmly, "not with this much attention on her." Before Donovan could respond, Sarah Chen, one of their junior attorneys, hurried over, tablet in hand. "Mr. Musk, Mr. Donovan, you need to see this." She turned the screen toward them. A breaking headline flashed. Tech billionaire fined $100,000 for wearing religious symbol in court. That was fast, Musk said with a faint smile. It gets better, Chen added, swiping to another article. Religious leaders condemn judicial overreach in Musk case already, Donovan asked. Apparently several major clergy were following the antitrust case, Chen explained. They've shifted focus to the religious freedom angle. Statements are pouring in. As they scrolled, the story was clearly spiraling far beyond the courtroom, exactly as Musk had expected. There's more, Chen continued quietly. The Liberty Justice Center just reached out. They want to file an amicus brief supporting our position. Donovan's eyes widened. That's a heavy hitter. This just became a constitutional case. Good, Musk said. Tell them we welcome their support and contact the Religious Freedom Institute too. They'll want in, Donovan sighed. Elon, can we talk privately? They stepped into a quiet corner. You planned this, Donovan said flatly. Across the confrontation, you knew how she'd react. Musk's face gave nothing away. I wore something meaningful to me. She overreacted. Donovan shook his head. I've been your lawyer 5 years. You're always 3 moves ahead. What's your goal here? You're risking the entire antitrust defense. For a moment, Musk's calm cracked. Maybe it needs to be risked. Judge Simmons has shown her bias since day one. It's time to even the field. The courtroom doors opened. Rebecca Washington, lead DOJ attorney, strode in. Impeccable suit. Cold focus. Gentlemen, she said evenly. Quite the morning. Rebecca, Donovan greeted. What can we do for you? I thought we might talk before the judge returns, she said. This situation complicates things for everyone. I didn't realize my personal faith had any bearing on an antitrust case, Musk said mildly. Washington's smile was thin. Let's not pretend any of this was accidental. You've turned a market trial into a constitutional storm. I wore a cross, Musk replied. The judge made it an issue. Washington sighed. The DOJ respects religious liberty, but this case can't be derailed by theatrics. Perhaps we request the judge set aside the contempt order and move forward. Donovan nodded slightly, but Musk cut in. Appreciate the offer, Miss Washington, but no. The judge's order raises serious constitutional questions. We can't just sweep that under the rug. Washington's composure cracked just for a second. Mr. Musk, I'm offering you a dignified way out. I don't need a way out, Musk said. The judge does. Washington stared at him, then turned sharply. You're playing with fire. Fire's only dangerous if you don't know how to control it, he replied. Moments later, the bailiff entered. All rise. Judge Ellena Simmons took the bench. The courtroom was packed again. Media, legal observers, religious groups. The air was electric. Before we resume, the judge began coolly. I'll address the matter of Mr. Musk's contempt citation. Has the fine been paid? Donovan stood. No, Your Honor. We decline to pay and will appeal the finding. A murmur swept the gallery. Judge Simmons turned her gaze to Musk. Mr. Musk. Refusal to pay could lead to increased fines or detention. Musk stood. I understand, Your Honor, but the First Amendment protects my right to religious expression. Your order is unconstitutional. The courtroom froze. Mr. Musk, the judge said sharply. This court has discretion to maintain decorum. No symbols, religious or political, are permitted. That rule applies to everyone. With respect, Your Honor, Musk said steadily. A small cross around my neck neither disrupts the court nor influences anyone. It's a private expression of faith. Sit down immediately, she snapped. This is not a constitutional law lecture. The fine is now $150,000, and if that cross is visible tomorrow, it doubles. As Musk sat, a commotion stirred in the back. A man in a clerical collar rose to his feet. Your Honor, he called out, I request permission to address the court as an interested observer. 2 officers moved toward the man. He sat down reluctantly, but the interruption had done its job. Everyone was now acutely aware of the deeper religious tension running beneath the case. Judge Simmons drew a deep breath. We will now return to the antitrust matter before us. Ms. Washington, you may continue your examination. As the government's attorney rose, Musk leaned close to Donovan. Did you notice? He whispered. Notice what? Donovan murmured back. She didn't order me to remove the cross this time. Only threatened more fines if it's visible tomorrow. She's softening, Donovan said quietly. Though he looked unconvinced, The courtroom returned to its original rhythm, questions of market share, competitors, and consumer choice. But beneath the surface, everyone knew something fundamental had shifted. For the next 2 hours, expert witnesses droned on about market concentration and algorithmic favoritism. Musk appeared fully engaged, but beneath the table his right hand held a small recording device. It was legal for personal notes, but unusual for someone with a full legal team. The recorder captured everything, not just words, but the tone, the tension, the sound of every paper shuffle and cough. As the afternoon dray. With that, he turned and walked to his waiting Tesla, leaving the shouted questions behind. Once inside, he made a call. "It's me," he said. "Everything is proceeding as planned." Judge Simmons took the bait. Phase 1 is complete. 45 minutes later, Musk entered Donovan and Associates. The team was already gathered, tense, energized. "You've stirred up quite the hornet's nest," Donovan said. 17 media requests, support from 9 religious groups, and this. He slid a document across the table. Musk read it, a faint smile appearing. "A special hearing tomorrow morning. Subject, reconsideration of the contempt finding." "She's backpedaling," said Sarah Chen, the junior attorney. "Public pressure's working." "Or she's setting a trap," Donovan warned. "Either way," Musk replied, "we move forward." "Did you get the recording?" "Every word," Marcus Reed said, holding up a thumb drive. "I've already sent it to Professor Harrington for analysis." "Good," Musk said. "Tonight I'm doing one exclusive interview, 60 minutes. It airs tomorrow morning before court." Donovan frowned. "That's risky. Anything you say can be used against you." "I'm counting on it," Musk said, smiling. "I want the judge to see it. I want her to know exactly what she's up against." Donovan sighed. "And what's that exactly?" "The full legal, constitutional, and public force of someone who won't be bullied," Musk said. "This isn't about a cross, it's about power. Judicial power that's forgotten its limits. If we don't push back now, religious expression becomes a privilege instead of a right." Silence filled the room. Every lawyer understood the gravity of his words. Finally, Donovan nodded. "We'll proceed with your media plan. Meanwhile, we'll file a formal appeal, a motion for her recusal, and a complaint with the Judicial Conduct Committee." "Perfect," Musk said. "We fight on every front." As the team began debating tactics, Musk turned toward the window, the city glowing gold beneath him. His fingers brushed the silver cross, the small spark that had ignited something far bigger. None of them knew that for Musk. This wasn't just legal or political, it was personal. 3 years earlier, Judge Simmons had presided over another of his cases, showing open bias and favoring the other side. He hadn't forgotten. And when he learned she'd oversee this new antitrust trial, he'd begun crafting a plan. The cross wasn't a coincidence, it was a symbol and a trigger, gifted by an engineer who once said, "In America, you can wear this without fear." Now, Musk intended to prove whether that was still true. He looked out over the city, calm and confident. Phase 1 was complete. Judge Simmons had taken the bait. Phase 2 was about to begin. It was a gamble, certainly. But Elon Musk had built his fortune and reputation on bold risks others wouldn't take. This time, the stakes were higher. It wasn't about markets or innovation, but about fundamental rights. And this might be the most defining gamble of his life. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city, Musk turned back to his conference table. His legal team worked quietly, surrounded by stacks of documents and glowing screens. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and opportunities. "James," Musk called to Donovan, rejoining the discussion. "Let's talk about tomorrow's hearing. I've got some specific ideas about our approach." Around the table, his team reviewed legal precedents and shaped their arguments. Outside, news of the courtroom clash had already swept across the nation. Social media buzzed. Cable networks ran nonstop analysis. Religious leaders voiced support. What began as a minor courtroom conflict had erupted into a national debate over judicial authority and the right to religious expression. At the center of it all stood Elon Musk, tech visionary, business icon, and now, unexpectedly, a symbol of religious freedom. The next morning, sunlight flooded Musk's penthouse office. In just 48 hours since Judge Simmons had rescinded her contempt ruling, the story had become unstoppable. The small silver cross at Musk's neck caught the light as he turned to face his team of lawyers. media experts, and tech executives. CNN is calling it the cross case, said Communications Director Maya Rodriguez, sliding a tablet across the table. It's not just conservative outlets anymore, every major network is talking about it. Donovan leaned forward, both amazed and uneasy. In 30 years of law, I've never seen public attention explode this fast. The court's already received over 10,000 letters of support. Musk nodded calmly. And our legal position? Catherine Chen, a former Supreme Court clerk, spread several documents across the table. We found 7 prior cases where Judge Simmons allowed religious symbols in her courtroom. The inconsistency is glaring. And our motion for her recusal? Musk asked. The chief judge has scheduled an emergency hearing this afternoon, Donovan replied. That kind of speed is unheard of. Musk smiled faintly. They're feeling the pressure, Chen added. The Department of Justice just reached out, informally. They want to discuss a potential settlement on the antitrust case. A stunned silence followed. The government almost never backed down in high-profile antitrust actions. They're afraid, Musk said simply. They've realized this controversy could overshadow their entire case. If Simmons is removed for bias, their position collapses. Donovan frowned. Even so, settlement talks take months, not days. Not this time, Musk replied, glancing at his watch. In 2 hours, I'll be testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee on religious freedom in American courtrooms. Several jaws dropped. That was just scheduled this morning, Musk continued. Senator Martinez called personally. Apparently, they've been worried about judicial overreach, and my case became the breaking point. Elon, Donovan said cautiously, this is moving incredibly fast. Maybe too fast, Musk's tone hardened. This was never just about avoiding a fine or even the antitrust case. This is about setting a precedent that protects every American's right to religious expression. Sometimes the moment chooses you, and when it does, you move. 3 hours later, the Senate hearing room overflowed with reporters and spectators. Cameras flashed. The air crackled with anticipation. At the witness table, Elon Musk sat alone, the silver cross gleaming against his dark suit. Senator Ellena Martinez gavelled the session to order. This committee will examine concerns about religious expression in federal courtrooms. Our sole witness is Mr. Elon Musk. Musk leaned toward the microphone. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here not as a businessman, but as an American concerned about our constitutional rights. For 15 minutes, he spoke with calm conviction, recounting what had happened in Judge Simmons's courtroom. When I refused to remove this cross, he said, touching it lightly, I didn't act out of defiance but out of principle. Some values should never be compromised, not for convenience, not for comfort, and certainly not for conformity. When Senator Bradford accused him of exploiting religion for personal gain, the tension was palpable. Musk's reply was measured and direct. I didn't choose this battle. I wore a small symbol of faith. It was the court that turned it into a constitutional issue. If standing up for my rights benefits me in other cases, that only proves how deeply those rights shape our system. Applause broke out before being quickly gavelled down. As the hearing closed, Senator Martinez made an unexpected announcement. This committee will introduce legislation next week to strengthen protections for religious expression in federal courts. Mr. Musk, your testimony has been invaluable. Outside, a crowd of supporters cheered, many wearing crosses or other faith symbols. Musk waved briefly before stepping into a waiting Tesla. His phone buzzed. Donovan DOJ requesting emergency settlement conference. Judge Simmons has recused herself. Turn on CNN. Musk glanced at the screen. Breaking news. Federal judge recuses herself amid religious freedom controversy. DOJ signals willingness to settle antitrust case against Musk. For the first time in days, Musk allowed himself a small, genuine smile. The next morning, sunlight gleamed over the courthouse steps, now filled not with protesters but cameras and reporters. The DOJ's lead attorney stepped to the podium. The Department of Justice has reached a comprehensive settlement with Mr. Musk and his companies. This agreement ensures fair competition while supporting continued innovation. Musk followed, his tone confident yet humble. This isn't just a win for my companies. It's a win for every American who believes in fair markets and fundamental freedoms. He paused, hand resting on his cross. Our rights demand vigilance and sometimes courage. When asked about Judge Simmons, he replied evenly, She's a dedicated public servant who made a mistake. I bear no ill will. I hope this leads to clearer guidance for all judges. In her chambers, Judge Simmons watched the press conference silently. The week had shattered her composure. The complaint filed against her included undeniable proof. She had allowed religious attire in past cases, contradicting her own decision. Her recusal had been unavoidable. On her desk lay a half-finished letter of apology to Musk, and beside it a small wooden cross, a family heirloom she had hidden for decades. As she lifted her pen, she realized perhaps it was time to rethink that separation between faith and duty. A month later, Musk stood before a packed Georgetown Law auditorium. "The case that brings us here," he began, "was never just about a cross pendant or a courtroom fine. It was about the tension between order and freedom, authority and individual rights." He paced slowly, speaking with quiet power. "Throughout history, progress has come,